It's James here with November's Founders Log, and I've got a cameo with me today. Kyle.
Hello. Yes.
First time you've been on a Founders Log.
That's right. Not co-founders log.
You've got an idea of what they're about?
I have indeed, yes.
That's good news. That's good news. So recap of November. So in November, I guess the two main things that we did was we departed with two clients.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right. One had been with us for a little while, and one that, frankly, never really got started.
Yeah, so that's the first one. It was they did racking solutions for warehouses, and it was kind of weird from the start. So they were actually quite involved at the start, and I'd done quite a few video calls with them, helped them organize their data, use Google Forms to collect data and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fine for the first 3 months, and then we noticed we hadn't been billing them for those first 3 months. So
Yeah.
from the fourth month, we started billing them. We didn't charge them again for those 3 months that we'd forgotten about, because that was our fault. And straight away we got a message from their MD saying, "Oh, I'm not really finding any value in this support and all this nonsense." Once they'd had a lot of value from it, and then none of them contacted us after that. Basically, apart from setting up a new user, that was literally the only contact we had with them after that. So it's weird, because after they started getting charged for assistance and support, they stopped using it. But when they had the 3 months where we weren't charging anything, they were using it all the time.
Yeah, it did seem that way.
Very strange. It was a referral, that one as well, and we know what we say about referrals. We don't rate them that well.
No, they're not usually very good, as we've found out recently.
And the second one was a company that we'd been with us for 3 years. Everything looked like it was going well. So in August time, we contacted them about renewing again, using the same agreement that we had before.
Yeah.
Offering the same services, same package. It was a small price increase of 2.5% just to cover off inflation for those 3 years that they had previously, and we didn't hear anything back. So chased them up again, didn't hear anything back. And then when they finally got in contact, the MD there, he all of a sudden said, "Oh, I'm not very happy with the service."
Yep.
And it's like, well, that's the first time you've mentioned it in 36 months that you're not happy with the service. And it's funny that that's come up as we're talking about renegotiating a new agreement with you.
Yeah.
And so I went, kind of upset me when a customer's not happy about the service. So I contacted him and said, "Well, what problems have you got? What do you need changing?" Didn't hear anything back. Offered to take him out for lunch so we could discuss about it. Heard nothing back from that, even though his child goes to the same school as my child, and he actually met me in the car park and said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry I haven't got back to you on the lunch. I'll get back to you tonight on it." Never heard anything back at all. And then when he finally did reply, he mentioned 3 things that were a problem that had nothing to do with us at all either way. One was bad broadband, which we know he had bad broadband across the sites, which we quoted lease lines for and always recommended lease lines, but he would always decide not to go with them and cheap out on business broadband, which is essentially residential broadband with the word business written across the top of it.
Yes, indeed.
The second one was about apps. Oh, what's apps? Mobile apps? Well, we don't do any of your mobile apps. The apps that you do use, I'm aware of, are custom built by another company for you to do life monitoring inside the business. And what's that got to do with us? Again, no response on that. And then the final issue was he felt he was getting too involved in the IT,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny, because throughout the 3 years, our main problem was this guy couldn't stop tinkering with the IT. It would be constantly, we'd get phone calls last minute going, "I've redeployed this tablet to somebody else," or "It's been changed," or something's been changed and we've not been told about it. And one of the things was he didn't want to get involved in the setup of new devices. So essentially, they're based over in Solihull, which is near us, and their other businesses are down in the southeast region of the UK.
Yeah.
Locations, and we always offered with new devices, we'll get them sent to us, set up and curried down there, and set up on site for you. And he didn't want to pay that, so because he travelled down twice a week to these businesses, he always wanted to take them down. And of course, naturally, you're going to be involved in the setup then if you're offering to take them down, and you don't want to pay for a courier to do that for you.
Yeah.
And we gave him back our response because we weren't happy with how he behaved and his communication throughout. And after that we decided that we're just going to work with the guy, because he didn't actually respond back to our questions about the questions he'd put in there. Just left it in the dark again as normal. Closed his eyes, whatever. Didn't take any action. So the only action we had left was to actually telling we're no longer going to work with their company anymore, and gave them the good reasons, all valid reasons. Mainly it was based around communication. You can't work with somebody if the other side isn't going to communicate back, because that just doesn't work. I can't have a one-way conversation with somebody and they never respond back to me.
That's right. Yeah.
So we opted to tell them to go away, and gave them a month until the end of November to find a new provider, which they did. And well, I hope things go well for them. But based on our experience, I don't think the new. I think after the honeymoon period is over, the new provider is going to realise the reason why we decided not to work with them anymore after that, too.
Yeah, those people don't change.
Yeah, they don't change. And it was actually the first client that you've ever essentially fired, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
The IT anyway.
Yeah. And they had to, it just doesn't work sometimes. It doesn't work out. If the owner of a business isn't interested in what you've got to do anymore and gives you spurious excuses for why it doesn't work, which is mostly their own tinkering and interference and or money, then we're really on a hiding to nothing. They want to go flip to another person, pay a little bit less. Sometimes maybe even pay a bit more, thinking it'll just be great, but don't realise that they're the problem.
One of the best excuses for not responding back to us was the fact that he all of a sudden claimed he doesn't read his emails. So he has an email address and he doesn't read any of his emails. However, our emails have trackers on it. And that one, I asked him about going for lunch. That was open at least 30 times based on the email trackers over many, many days. And
yeah, it was. I don't read my emails all the time. I only read them like once a day or something. But the tracker would suggest otherwise.
Yes, yeah, he does emails all the time. But that was it. So that was the highlights really of November. Oh, and forget that, we actually brought a new client on board as well, didn't we? Absolutely fantastic one. Recruitment agency based down in London. That was November when they came online, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Now, that actually was a referral through my partner's father who works in IT. But sometimes referrals can be okay. And these people are great because they value IT and they value technology, particularly since they work with a lot of technology companies that actually work for recruiting for Apple and organizations like that, actually recruiting out of California. So they're right at the heart of Cupertino and putting people in there. So they were very, very pleased with the major problem that they had, which we did with another client to do with a domain name and a reputation. And we were able to resolve that with the same solution we'd use for our other client for that situation.
So much so that the MD sent a message saying that we've basically saved their lives on the business because we were able to get them back in business.
That's right. Sometimes your domain name can lose its reputation when you're sending email and it becomes seen as bad by the big players. And if that happens, there's really not a lot you can do for a long time. You got to stop using it because it's broken for good, or at least for many, many months before it builds itself back up.
That was the real highlight of November, getting those guys on board, because Mike is fantastic to work with and his team. And they get the value of what we're offering, and just getting that message saying that how we've helped their business and got him back on the right foot the way they wanted to go after that damage they had on their reputation, on their domain. Brilliant news.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
November, we also did 2 podcasts, if you remember, back in November.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was about my Polestar finally getting delivered and my first impressions of Android Automotive.
Yep.
And then the second one, I've listened back to the second one, and I'd say the second one is probably what in the record industry they would class as filler content for a B-side of a record, because it was literally it was that one we actually delayed it for a few days because there was nothing to talk about.
No.
Yeah, so there is a second one out there for November, and you can listen to it if you want to, but it's kind of like we're making a best of a bad situation when there's nothing to talk about really.
Well, there isn't very much news when it is that time of year, when it's Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which it was, and that's what happens.
And it's also why we've actually delayed our podcast that we were going to be recording yesterday for December until next week, where we're going to do a whole recap of the year instead. Because again, Christmas time, it goes like this. The whole industry goes quiet in the tech world.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. There's not a lot of new releases or anything like that. It's simply selling products.
YouTube. This is great because you've actually done 2 new videos in the last month since my last update. Okay. One is your latest one, the history of Office 95.
That's right.
And that was acceptable, even though we're a Google place. It's acceptable because at the time there was no other better Office suite in existence at that time.
Google didn't exist when that product was released.
Exactly. It was still just
it was still in the mind's eye of 2 people.
It was.
Possibly.
Yeah. And then you also did your other video about my favorite bit of hardware of all time, the Microsoft mouse.
That's right. Yeah.
And the history, the retrospective of that.
And that's got a lot of history, actually. It was pretty interesting digging into the past of that mouse. It's got a lot more past than the first one I remember. The first one I remember using was about version number 5. There've been plenty before that.
Yeah, because I use the IntelliMouse one from Microsoft, which I do today, and I bought loads of them because I just love them, and if they stop making them again, I'll be sad. And then we did 3 videos as well. Try it now videos, Carl. So we did one about how to get Google Chat to open automatically when you turn your computer on. And that works on any machine because it's built into Chrome. So you can have that setting turned on Mac OS, Windows, Ubuntu, or whatever operating system you want to use. We also I did a demo video on the approval system inside Google Drive. So this is the new approval system where if you've got a document and you want to send it off to a line manager to approve it before you send it to a customer, you can now do that.
Yep.
And the final video was one that you did that we frequently get asked by subscribers. It's how to move files between shared drives because they get confused about the permissions normally.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I'd be interested to see if that one becomes of any interest on YouTube per se. It certainly is of interest if anybody uses Google Workspace in a business. They ask it all the time. However, it may not be the sort of thing that people search to look for. I'll be just interested to see on that one.
Yeah, I think it'll be specifically business people. It won't. I don't think it will ever be a highly viewed one in that you don't have shared drives with the free Google accounts, free Google Drive. So,
and a lot of people who use Google Workspace don't even really know about shared drives unless they have support.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I thought just before we finish off, as normal, I'll run through the November statistics. So, how many people do you think got in contact with us in November?
67.
No, it's actually higher this time.
Okay.
There's a reason for that because we're doing an onboarding. 85.
Okay.
So because we were onboarding the new client that we mentioned earlier, naturally there's always more communications on that because of people changing systems and just asking questions about how things work. That's the reason why Gmail was the most asked about service as well.
Okay.
And that was because of the new client onboarding moving from what they were using before, which was a mixture of Mac Mail, Newton Mail, and all that kind of stuff over to Gmail. So just learning how to use their new inbox and where's this feature, where's this button, memory muscle kind of stuff, where it's not where you expect it. Out of those 85 that got in contact, 75.3 were asking for assistance, and the remaining 24.7 were asking for support where something's not working as it should, probably printers. As you can see on our new TikTok channel that we got out there, Carl's made it clear what we think about printers.
Yeah, I lament of printers. Honestly, James, I wasted a lot of time. I think what I did fixed the printer, fingers crossed, because I've not heard anything from that client. Well, I spent about 2 hours on a bloody scanner.
It'll be interesting to see how many days of your life have been wasted fixing printers.
So many. I remember visiting a client once in London when I was in my previous company, and I was director of that company. I went down to see the owners of the business, and as I walked in, the person on reception went, "You're the printer man." So I just went, "Yeah, that's me." I just pretended to be printer man for most of the day. And then the receptionist was rather upset later on when the other person said, "He's the director of the company, you know." And she was ever so aghast about it. I just thought it was funny. Printer man. Printer man, no one bothers you see, James. No one asks you any questions if you go on site as printer man. Just leave you alone to fix the printer.
Yeah. Hopefully you can fix it. Otherwise, you get a lot of eyes when you're leaving and it's still broken.
Yeah, but you're the printer man. You could officially write the printer off, which I wanted.
I wonder if a printer man's very much like that psychological thing where you can, if you carry a ladder and a fluorescent jacket, you can get in anywhere. I wonder if you could do that with a printer.
I think you could.
So out of all those people that are in contact, 70.6% of those subscribers got back to work within 5 minutes after they contacted us. 25.9% took between 5 and 30 minutes, and one request, which was that Xerox printer, took multiple days because it required an engineer.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one that you were working on. The Xero engineer came along and didn't actually do anything.
No. The Xerox engineer didn't fix anything. To be frank, didn't fix anything. No, useless. 95.3% of subscribers contacted us through our unique instant messaging service. Good. In contrast, 2 subscribers opted to log an old-fashioned email ticket. 1 subscriber sent a text message, and they got very lucky that they got a response from that because that's not the authorized way of doing it. And finally, the training statistics, Carl. So out of everyone who got in contact this month, we believe that 24 subscribers would not have needed to contact us if the companies they worked for provided regular training through the learning sessions by Kimberly IT, which start at £210 and go up to £500. And they are
up to 10 subscribers in each session. So it's really good value for money, and they can be booked online at kimberly.com.
Fantastic.
And paid online. Right. So get yourself over there and start booking your stuff in for some training.
That's right. Save yourself time and money.
Well, that's the recap for November, and we will do one at the end of December, or probably start of January, actually, to be fair.
Yes.
Talking about December. So thanks for watching. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit the bell icon, subscribe, and like this video. And if you're watching it on our website on the blog, well, you can see below all the statistics are below this video too.
And then go to YouTube and click on like and subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget the TikTok channel as well. Just search for Kimberly IT on TikTok.
Yes.
And you'll get almost daily videos from Kyle.
It is quite fun to do. So yes.
Kyle is in charge of the TikTok channel. I don't deal with that. So he's doing all the videos on that.
That's right.
Thanks for joining me, Kyle. And I'll see you in a month's time.
All right. See you later.